Hey, my name is Alexander, and I'm a guitarist, composer, and overall music nerd from Copenhagen, Denmark. In this video, we're building a clean tone using the Princess Amp and one of my own custom IRs. Let's go! Before diving into the tone, I just want to shortly let you know that I run a website called composition101.com. On there, you can pick up Helix preset bundles, you can pick up impulse responses, and even guitar lesson packs. It would be really cool if you would check it out. Of course, also, as with every YouTube video, feel free to subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. Like the video, say hi to me down in the comments, or suggest the next tone that I should build here on the channel. That is all for the ad time. Let's get into the walkthrough of the preset. Alright, so welcome back to Helix Edit once again. As you can see on the screen, a pretty standard tone. One chain, so it's compatible with both the big boy Helixes and of course the HX Stomp. And let's just dive right in. For the amp, we're using the US Princess, and for the IR, we are using one of my own custom IRs from an upcoming pack. Who knows what that's gonna be? And it's called the Rock Cab 23, and this particular cab is a Marshall cab, if I remember correctly. And a fairly standard setup, low cut at 103 Hz, very specific 103 Hz. I think it's accidental, and 10K for the high cut, that is. Then, of course, you can check out the parameters for the US Princess here. This is a great amp. It sounds really good, and I was super excited when it came into the Helix back in the day. I also use it for some of my clean tones for my band live. I think it sounds brilliant, and yeah, the settings are fairly close to the default settings. I tweaked around a bit with the treble and the presence and the bias X and the bias. I usually, not always, but usually set my bias X to 5.5 and the bias at around 6.5. I listen for this, it gets just a certain kind of push, at least in my brain it feels like that. And I sort of aim for that, and usually it's around the same place. And usually when we create high gain tones, of course, I would take all of the other advanced parameters. It's really not right, but ripple, hum, and sag, I would take them all the way down to get this cold, tight, and modern metal suited tone right. But when we have clean tones, it can be a little unperfect, right? Quote unquote. Have a little bit of the noise on the It's a different aesthetic than what we want for high gain tones that I usually make, right? But I can appreciate a great clean tone as well. Then the other standard parameters, the input gate is on default settings, 500 milliseconds, and minus 48 dB. So let me just take all of this off like that, and it sounds like this. Sounds alright to me. A good amp and a good cab can get you very far. But of course, it would be a boring ass video if I just did this. But I tweaked it a little bit, and you probably notice right away that I have a distortion pedal in here, which doesn't really fit with the clean tone aesthetic, right? But we'll return to that a little later. Alright, so first in chain, like I usually do, I have some sort of pre-amp effects, in this case a parametric EQ, and we have the Rochester compressor, and then we have a few post-amp and post-cab effects. Another parametric EQ, and we have a little bit of delay and some reverb in the end, right? But first of all, this is a great trick that I can be so proud to say that I came up with myself. I sort of learned from production videos and stuff like that to sort of affect the DI or process the DI on the way into the amp. So I thought I would try to sort of do the same thing, and it ended out in this sort of extreme looking parametric EQ, right? But I tell you, it's not that bad as it looks, and sometimes we sort of have to break the rules. I do this a lot in this video today, it seems. We have to sort of break the rules and do something that we're not supposed to do, quote unquote, to sometimes get the results that we want. And let's hear. That's without, right? And with. Damn, right. Do that again. Without and with. Right. It makes all the difference in the world to me. Alright, let's move on. We have a compressor. Fairly stock settings, I think. Right. Doesn't do much. Does a little. Also adds a bit of volume. You can of course just dial down the level a little bit, but for some reason it ended there for me. Does what a compressor does, right? Makes stuff sound good. So that's the pre-processing before we hit the amp. Then we talked about the amp, of course, and we have this little parametric, a bit more subtle and normal. I do it again, right? Right. Oh, that sounded bad. Better. Right? Sometimes you hit a sour note. It happens. So what I mostly am doing here is, for me, it feels like it's bright and it's lovely, right? But it kind of, I have this metaphor or simile that it sort of steps into the light, right? It steps to the front of the stage. It's become more clear. It sounds a bit muddy and a bit sort of muffled, and then we have this post-amp EQ to sort of clean up those specific areas, and we can sort of bring it forward. And mostly here I'm using the Magic frequency 8K, boosting it by 3.1 dB. That is where most of this comes from, right? So you can of course steal these settings if you want. Then lastly, fairly simple. It sounds a bit dry, right? It's a boring. And luckily Line6 put in the dynamic room. Right. So we get that sort of amp in the room kind of sound, at least in my opinion. Okay, so that is basically the tone. To me it sounds very good. And we can of course take it everywhere. We could add a bunch of reverb, we could put modulation effects on it, we could even put this delay on it, right? To get some more kind of solo-y kind of vibes, right? Could even add a drive pedal to it or something like that, right? As I sort of alluded to in the beginning. And this is the heir apparent. Right. Just to show that this is sort of the basis tone, or the foundation for a lot of things, right? So if we have a good kind of clean tone like this, we could create a full list of snapshots where we added different effects to it, added drive pedals, make a lead tone out of it, all that kind of song-specific stuff as well. So I think that this preset ended up really great, and of course remember to go to the description, grab the preset on my website, composition101.com. and the IR as well from my upcoming pack, and keep an eye out for that. Of course, the trick is that I give you some free stuff, you sign up with your email, and I throw out the lure, and I slowly drag you in and get all of your money, hopefully, or some of yours money or something like that. I can be transparent about that. It doesn't matter, you know the drill, we don't have to pretend. Let me know down in the comments if you like this tone, or if there is something else you would like for me to build in the future. And yeah, that's it guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch the video. I hope that you learned a few new tricks, and you got a free impulse response that you can use with your own tones, or maybe the preset that I provided as well. Once again, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. It helps the channel grow, and it's free on your end, and it would just be a really bro thing to do now that I gave you a free impulse response that I think sounds pretty good. Thanks. Also remember to check all of the links out down in the description, both my website composition101.com and also the link directly to the preset and the impulse response. That is all for this time, guys. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch the video. I will see you in the next one. Peace.